Originator of this quote is unknown, but this quote, regardless, is trying to tell us that it is a poignant reminder that growth requires movement. Just as a story cannot progress until we turn the page or change the page, our lives cannot move forward if we are constantly fixated on the past. Whether it is clinging to old regrets, past relationships, missed opportunities, or even former identities, rereading the same chapter only reinforces what has already been written. It does not allow for what could be. Now, the past may hold valuable lessons, but its role is to inform the present, not to dominate it. Now, staying emotionally and mentally anchored in yesterday's events prevents us from noticing the possibilities of today. Now, and even the promise of tomorrow would also evade us. Now, even the good memories or past accomplishments, when held too tightly, can become barriers to new dreams and experiences. Letting go is not about forgetting or pretending the past did not happen. It is about acknowledging it, learning from it, and choosing not to be ruled by it. Only when we release our grip on what was can we fully engage in what is and what could be. The next chapter may hold healing, love, adventure, or purpose, but we will never know unless we turn the page. And this goes to tell us that whether it's past glories or past sorrow, we need to try our best to move forward from that. Let those experiences of the past inform our present and inform our future, not to cloud it, not hold on to it to the extent where you may not even be able to make any moves, any better moves in the future or even in the present. We're supposed to move forward in our lives. We're supposed to do better, improve on what has been, and then become better in the days ahead. And I hope that this quote, as we're entering the weekend, will be able to give us some time to reflect within ourselves, discard the old, and also look forward to the new and be looking at how best we can move forward in our lives and prevent ourselves from holding on to the old memories, whether past hurt or past glory. Next is our online print review with my co-host, and we will be right back.
To add all those test pots like application to something like this. Alright, that's quick. That's crazy. That was quick. He's gonna be able to draw level.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
The Ghana Civil Service proudly presents its annual Civil Service Week celebration and award ceremony from 16th to the 25th of July 2025 under the theme Adapting to Automation, Artificial Intelligence and E-Governance, the Civil Service in Contemporary Ghana. Main venue is the Accra Sports Stadium and grand finale and award ceremony on the 25th of July at Alisa Hotel. Guest of honor is Honorable Julius Deborah, Chief of Staff to the President of the Republic of Ghana. Event highlights include float procession, policy fair and public lectures, on the spot public services, press launch, cooking and quiz competitions, sanitation campaign, and sports tournaments. Partners include GNPC, Pomasidor, ECG, Goyle, Verna Water, BOST, and VRA. Media partners are GTV, Joy News, Metro TV, Clock TV, Peace FM, and the Angel Broadcasting Network. The Ghana Civil Service, celebrating our achievements for improved service delivery.
In a world where neutrality in the civil service is paramount, Ghana finds itself at a crossroad. CLOSAG says that a certain action should be taken. But government has to act on the basis of law. So we inquired as to what the premise for that demand is.
They say if you wish to broadcast or otherwise manifest your political allegiance or run political office, step away from the services. This is Supreme Court talking. It's not CLOSAG speaking or Isaac Wampado speaking. This is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court judgment on the landmark case of CLOSAG versus the Attorney General has set the stage for a profound transformation. Introducing Resetting the Civil Service. Tune in to be part of this change, because a better civil service means a better Ghana.
I find it refreshing always when I remind myself of the profound statement by the eminent civil servant, the Tan Anankwa of blessed memory, to the effect that it is the perfection of the civil servant that will move this country forward, and not the politics.
Train.
Yeah, welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. And if you're just tuning in, we're having our online print review. And I'm doing this with my co-hosts, two very able gentlemen. We have Clement Yabankwe and Nanayao Asari. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Aya.
How are we doing?
By grace.
So the weekend is approaching. What's up? What are our anticipations?
I think Nana used to travel every weekend, so we just have to know. Yes.
He's
Yes.
going on vacation, Nana.
So I'm traveling tomorrow. The details there will come. Still going on some investigative.
Journalistic things, right?
I mean, but I'm traveling tomorrow.
Okay.
And we're going towards the Cape Coast regions to go and work. So we'll get some stories, just like we did from when we went to Shama and we got the Galamsey stories and all that. So we are going to actively look at the blue task forces who are actually combating Galamsey. We are going to also look at certain areas that need attention, and then we'll come back and report.
All right. Okay. So we wish you safe travels and come back with quality news.
Yes.
Clement, what about you? What's up?
Oh, I'll just be in the house and we'll just be praying for Mother Ghana. Be praying for
Mother Ghana. All right.
Exactly.
So what is trending? What's happening?
Era? Okay,
Well, the residents of English here, Manfro, didn't wake up to good news this morning. There's a very popular Momo vendor around that area called Desmond. Yesterday, after he closed from work, he was actually returning home, and he got shot by suspected armed robbers. On his way home, they took his bag and shot him multiple times. He was rushed to the Manfro Polyclinic nearby, but he was unable to survive. There are concerns about there being a police station just nearby, but no ongoing patrols at night or no ongoing police visibility in that particular area. And also, his sister has also actually come out to say that the investigation should actually be looked at, or they should open an investigation in this particular case. And what she's suspecting is that the people, the perpetrators of the crime, Desmond, that is the deceased, may actually know one of them, and that is why when he identified them, they shot him. These are the stories that are making up rounds around English Shaman from. Desmond is a very vibrant guy. He's just 21 years of age, full of promise, full of hope. But unfortunately, these crimes caused by people riding on motorcycles at night, once again, has come. And then, unfortunately, Desmond is no longer here with us. So commiserations to his family, commiserations to all those who are directly affected. So we are beginning Koko Digest, the online paper review on this sad note.
So is it possible that it was targeted? Because for some time in our neighborhood, you realize that the momo vendors close before 6 p.m. or by 6 p.m. because they know that they are holding some amount of money and could be targets for armed robbers.
This is definitely targeted. This is definitely targeted because when you look at how proceedings have actually gone on, you realize that this is someone who, this is sort of his routine. Around 7 p.m. he closes, he goes home. So they actually targeted him, waited for him in an area where no one could intervene. According to an eyewitness, a woman she nearly rushed onto the scene to go and intervene in the matter, but her children were the ones who held her back because as a
They
mother,
can't afford to lose her,
exactly. Yeah. When you see a young boy actually going through, like maybe they took his bag. But his sister, that's what, I'm sure this may be a lead to the investigation. His sister said that the perpetrators of the crime may be people that Desmond knew personally.
Yeah.
That is why when they took his bag, because you've taken the bag, why don't you just go away?
Leave the person.
So when they took his bag and then he identified one of them, they actually shot him. So it's quite unfortunate. These crimes caused by people on motorcycles, we actually know that the motorcycle is sort of helping a certain informal sector of the economy, deliveries and all that. Now we are seeing that food vendors are subscribing to these deliveries and all that, and it's good. But when you tend to use that to perpetrate crimes, then again, I mean, how much can you get from a momo vendor's daily transactions? 20,000, 30,000, you just end someone's life abruptly.
And these momo
like
vendors
that.
are also probably working for somebody. It's not just their
Exactly.
businesses.
Exactly.
So because right now, considering the fact that this one could be working for someone, that person would be maybe demanding their money. And what if now his family has to probably cover those costs incurred because the money is gone and he's also dead, and this is going to bring a lot of burden to Desmond's family. And I think, yes, what his sister is saying that they should investigate should be done because considering the fact that he's been able to identify the people, one of them at least, then something can be done. Maybe the suspects could be, what's the word, narrowed down. Yeah.
And the main backlash in this whole situation is the presence of a police station nearby. So, and you can see that the people in that particular community are very, very much disturbed by the fact that immediately happened. He said, yes, this is what's going to happen because there are no patrols. There's no police visibility. They were even crying for these popular police that just come and stand by the road for you to see them, called the baby police. They are even crying out and saying that if we can actually get some baby police scattered within the area, patrolling on maybe motorcycles or patrolling by foot, even just to make sure that you have a feel of some security around you. That is what they're actually just saying. That if we can just see some police people around, and there's a police station around. And usually when these police stations are set up around communities, they're not just for reporting and catching criminals and putting them in jail and all that. But they are also supposed to for visibility to actually just maybe move around with a car. But the inhabitants are saying that nothing of that sort has been happening. And this has led to that. Always we have to make sure, we have to be at the receiving end of something before we can act. We are just reactive, not proactive.
Could it also be that there is an issue with our police service? Because sometimes you realize that people talk about the police and they make jokes, of real things that happening, that maybe there's a shooting in your neighborhood, you call the police, or maybe there are armed robbers, you call the police, and they make jokes that the police will ask you, are they shooting? Are they holding guns? Are they holding cutlasses? This would inform whether they would come to intervene. So could it be that maybe our services are also not as equipped as they should be, or maybe these people are not properly trained, that they are now living in fear of criminals?
Yeah, Clement. Yeah, go.
With this Momo vendor issue, yesterday on the floor of Parliament, a member of Parliament for Kwadaso asked the Minister for Interior a question related to that, because an incident occurred in his constituency where a Momo vendor, as Nana reported, was killed somewhere in March. But this incident happened in the vendor's house. And according to submission from the Minister for Interior, investigations suggest that close to 400 million Ghana cedis was being taken from the vendor. So you can see that it has become, should I say, of late, the attack on vendors has become rampant. It has increased. So as discussion is going, I think the various security agencies should also beef up their security in terms of areas like that. And also the vendors are supposed to be very careful, because I won't be surprised that, as Nana rightly mentioned, the sister would say that one of them, the suspect, the brother might know. Before someone will attack you, it will be people around you. They've gathered enough information about you, because according to what happened in Parliament yesterday, the person was attacked in his room. He was tied with this one hand at the back and one leg at the back. In his room, that's where the attack was being done. So there are people who are just around. So I think we just have to be very careful. Not even the vendors, we as an ordinary Ghanaian, we just have to be very careful, because as we go and we come, people are just monitoring us.
Yeah.
Yes,
but what about the police service in this situation? Because Nana is saying that in that area there's a police station nearby, and yet not much was seen or heard from them. And I'm also asking that, is it because maybe they are not well equipped? Because I don't know if you've heard those jokes.
When it comes to our police service, I refuse to think that they are not well equipped. When you look across Africa, I've been to other African countries. I've been to Nigeria, I've been to Cameroon, I've been to Benin, I've been to Togo, I've been around. And when you compare our police force to some of these police forces that we see around, you fail to think that our police force are not really equipped in comparison to them. That is, but when you come in ground and then you compare the performance of our police force, for example, there's literally nowadays no robbery case. There's literally no high-profile case that, if the Ghana Police Service says they are actually going to narrow down on this particular issue, they don't get results. Always. The Ghana Police Service responds accurately. It will shock you to know that some of these surveillance cameras that have been put around and all that, the kind of sophisticated equipment and all that behind that, how they monitor and all that. So I refuse to think that they are not well equipped. It's just, I think the systems are in place, but it's just the human factor that is missing. Because nowadays, you actually go around evening times. They've even set out how checkpoints and all that. Immediately you get there, nobody is looking at your car. Yesterday, I was in an Uber, and then we passed by a police checkpoint. I'll not mention the area, but immediately we passed by the checkpoint. The response we received was, the response that the Uber driver gave was, "Oh, what's on or TikTok on the phone?" So. So
some of them will say anything for the boys.
You see, so it's not about the institution of the Ghana Police Service in itself, but you realize that there are some individuals, and because why would you have a police station in the society where people want to feel your presence, but according to them there is no patrol going on in that particular area?
But then it needs to be about the values instilled in them.
Nana rightly said, if we should discuss issues of police service, I think it would rather take a long of time. I think we would visit this issue and follow up and give to viewers as well. Right. I have one story which came out. It said President Mahama nominates final batch of deputy ministers. That was as at yesterday, and these are they. Honorable Dorcas Toffee, that's MP, she is going to Ministry of Transport. Honorable James Dachikwesin, MP, he is going to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Honorable Mahama Adam, he is going to Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. Honorable Grace Ayensu Dankwa, she is going to Ministry of Health. So, Nana, in all, we have currently 17 deputy ministers nominated by the president out of 23 ministries. So, we have 16 ministries, 6 ministries currently as we speak who are not having deputies. And these ministries are Ministry of Sports and Recreation, Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. We have Ministry of Employment, Labor, Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Ministry of Gender and Children Protection, and lastly, the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment. So these 6 ministries, they have no deputies. Yes, so far.
Considering that, you know, this government came with the notion that they are going to be given as a lean government, how many ministers and deputies do we have in all?
So in all, they are still within the 60. Yeah. In all, it's 60.
It's still within the 60. Yeah, so it's still a lean government.
Yes, very as they promised. It's still lean. I just want to say a little before.
Yes, among the names that he mentioned was Dr. Safutofi, who is a Ghanaian music sensation.
Really?
Fantana, her mother.
Oh, okay.
So her mother has been given the Deputy Minister of Transport role, and I think, well,
congratulations
it's well
to
timed.
them. We hope to see them do. But
Yeah, so
let's talk about the fact that
Okay.
deputy ministers or seemingly deputies of any high-profile positions are seen as people who are not exactly doing anything. They tend to look, it seems most of the time that especially when the main minister or their head is around, then they don't have any or a lot of things they do, and if they're not around, it's as though they need some kind of permission. Because I think there was a time I was listening to a vetting of one of the appointed ministers some months back, and this kind of question was asked that, what will you do as a deputy minister? Because we know that you people don't, you know how the vetting, you know, process goes sometimes where they speak in certain ways. So is that really true that our deputy ministers mostly don't, we don't see them on the front lines doing a lot of things like maybe the ministers themselves?
So that is a perception created, but on grounds it's never so.
Okay.
I think being to Parliament for some number of months, I have come to understand that they work, they really work. Sometimes if the ministers are not there, they are in Parliament to answer questions.
Okay.
Somewhere last 2 weeks, the Minister for Finance was out of the country. It was a deputy who was there to answer questions to some of these issues. So, for example, when you take someone nominated like Dr. Grace Ayensu Dankwa, people might ask, who is she? She's a first-time MP, actually, from Isikado in the Western region. And she is a medical doctor, and little profile is that she's a brand ambassador for, Bogesi Incorporation. Okay. She's also professor of surgery from the University of Ultra Health. She's advisory committee member to Food and Drugs Authority. She's also the CEO of Fast Med Pharmacy Clinic and Medical Suppliers. She is the founder of Healing Hands Organization. Okay. So people like this are coming in with the expertise. She's actually a surgeon, actually. So from all this kind of let them say experience she's having, she's just come to adapt to the health ministry, because we know how Honorable Akando is working, going up and down and every day here and there. So you can see, I remember one day in Parliament, one of the MPs said, "Oh, Akando, you are suffering, you need a deputy minister." And it's true, because you can see the health sector is a very broad place that we need other hands. So Dr. Grace Ayensu Dankwa actually is there to help the health sector. And the rest too, as Nana mentioned, they are also very capable to do the work as well. Before Nana, you want to say something?
No, just go on.
So I just want to now go to the issue of the rerun. Manoj is going to explain rerun, God willing, tomorrow, 11th July. So that's the issue I just want to touch on before maybe we go to other matter. We know early this week, the NPP took the issue to court, High Court. That's the one to inject the process. But their application was actually, should I say, quashed or just trash somewhere because the lawyer or the judge said there's no basis for that. But I just want viewers to know the polling stations where this rerun are going to take place. There's 19 polling stations.
Okay.
And these are the polling stations. So if you are parts of, or if you are under that polling station, you should prepare yourself to go vote, God willing, tomorrow. God First International School, Dakuman 1, Pentecost Church, Mount Zion Assembly, Kwashaman, DVLA Office, Awoshi. We have Asedu Jedu Memorial School, Awoshi 1. We have Living Spring Day Nursery, Kwashibu 1. I think our sound engineer knows Kwashibu. So if it's part of them, you should go and vote. The Lost Pentecostal Church, Kwashibu. We have Presby Church, Odoko 4. Church of Pentecost, North, Odoko 2. Church of Pentecost, North, Odoko 4. Methodist Church, Odoko 1. St. John the Baptist Catholic Church, Odoko 1. Radiant Way Preparatory School, that's not Odoko 2. Article School Complex, Odoko. South Odoko 4 and 5 School. Pentecost Church, Trinebois, that's 2. Light of Gospel Miracle Chapel, that's Trinebois 2. MTTD Odoko Divisional Station, that is Odoko 1. And last 2 is Roman Catholic Church, Buzia Junction, Odoko 1. And Bethel Baptist Church, Sakaman 1. So these are the polling stations that is to experience the rerun, God willing, tomorrow.
Right.
For them to be, so I would say they are the now, should I say, the saviors for public minority election. Yes,
So
they are going to determine.
Are they undergoing any re-registrations or verifications
No,
and things like that?
So they are going to use the same register. That is the names that were registered by before the 2024 general elections. Those are the same names that are going to be on the list. So if your name happens to be within that particular polling stations, then you'll be allowed to vote over them.
But considering the fact that this is a constituency that has had this kind of controversy, wouldn't it be prudent to employ more security measures? Because in this situation where it's just a few polling stations, shouldn't they be tighter with their security?
So with this particular incident that has occurred, what we should think is that the Ghana Police Service will be heavily present in that particular area. But you should also balance it as in the fact that you don't want to also intimidate voters. There are certain voters that when they go and then they see policemen fully armed in and around that particular place, they do not actually have the encouragement
But if
to
you are
them
not
vote.
guilty of anything, you've seen police will not come near you.
No,
Go and vote peacefully and go.
But you know, sometimes just the thought that in the slightest provocation or not caused by you yourself, but maybe caused by another person, then you may be caught in a crossfire. That's another issue that people tend to think about. But let me give a little backstory concerning why the court dismissed the application for. So the High Court dismissed an application filed by Nana Ekuya Efriye, that is the MPP parliamentary candidate for Ablekuma North. She sought to stop the planned rerun of the election process. Now, what the court said was that in the people of Ablekuma North have been without without representation in Parliament since the election happened.
Yeah, that's we are going on 7 months.
Yes, 7 months after. There's no, and that is an infringement on their fundamental human rights. And the basis for which she sought to make the rerun or to cause
an injunction on it.
was termed unmeritorious. That's by the judge that actually gave the ruling, which is Justice Ali Baba Abaturi. He said it was unmeritorious and wasn't founded on any principles that would not commit the Electoral Commission to go through their due process. He said all the due processes have been done. The Electoral Commission has actually seen to the fact that the documentation and everything that needs for the process to go on smoothly is done. And we voted. You say you've won. Another party is also saying they've won. So if you have truly won, then let's go to Parliament. Let's go back to the polling stations.
But you see, just with this injunction coming from one party, is it not possible that the other party could say that they want to delay the process so that they can do some one or two things to rig it? That's why I was asking about the security measures, because it is an issue of the pink sheets and the evidence that they won, right? That's causing this lack of representation.
Maybe that could be true, but what I tend to think is
allegedly,
what I tend to, my notion is that in this particular electoral process, if some people voted for the MPP during that particular period, that's the previous government, now they realize that now the MPP cannot be majority in parliament.
Yeah.
The MPP are not going to be majority in parliament. The MPP, there's no presidential MPP candidate that can win. So now, when you look at the way the country has been governed from the first 7 months of the Mahama administration, the general notion is that people are liking the ratings of the NDC government is actually on the uprise, because people realize that there was e-levy before, there's no e-levy now. There were taxes, there are no taxes. The dollar rate was 17 and it was not. So now they are sort of going to lean towards maybe a certain political candidate, and that is what the other party wouldn't like. So that is what you tend to think. You know, ratings actually change. Should there be an instance or a situation that maybe a candidate, maybe a political candidate in the NDC has actually come out to make a statement right now to say that this is what we did to win the election, we rigged it, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, the ratings will drop.
The ratings will drop. And then you see that the other faction will now come and then come and say that, oh, we are ready to actually vote now. So it's not in anybody's interest, that is, for to see that your opposing political party's ratings are actually on the rise at the moment, and then you are still going to post. Yeah, it looks as though you're taking yourself.
Are you trying to say that they should just give it to the NDC?
Oh, no, not that. No, definitely, there has to be a decision made.
I think Nana is making political analysis. Exactly. So that's it.
So in this case, then, my problem is the security issue,
because
the
security will be
how
there. It
was controversial. Up to like in 7 months down the line, they still haven't been able to come to a conclusive, judgment that, okay, is this party or the other party. So ideally, in going to the polls, it's just 19 polling stations, right?
Yeah, 19.
In that constituency. Yeah. All these polling stations should be, manned very well. The voter, the ballot sheets, the party agents, polling agents, all these people should be screened properly so that they are going to be disciplined. They are also going to be able to control their followers so that they don't instigate them that, okay, since we lost or since we want to win, let's go and do this. Just like what we saw in the elections, people were coming out making all kinds of utterances and statements to get their followers to do some dirty work for them. So this is what I'm looking at, that if they don't do that way, it will happen again, because since it is, catastrophe prone, it's likely to happen again.
Yeah, I think the security agency, they are really prepared.
Okay, we are hoping to see more of that. So let's go to your
be expecting. Okay. Yes, sorry. There will be another elections. That's by-election because of the death of the member of parliament for Kutia.
Yeah.
So we should also expect that there's going to be another election somewhere to come.
Right.
And before I go into my new, this is a planned maintenance by ECG, which is taking place.
I think we'll come to that. Okay.
Yes, but this is a different. It's taking place tomorrow in the western region. Okay. And affected areas are Dabuase, Central Kobo. And these people are going to experience kind of
something
exactly.
Like that.
So people around that area should actually prepare. Tomorrow there's going to be maintenance around the area.
Day they did some maintenance. They put up some new lines in Kumasi. Somewhere in the area, we had our lights off. So please, they should keep it. They should contain it in that region so that we don't get affected.
I mean, getting news like this on planned maintenance is actually a feather in the cap of the energy ministry and those around ECG and all that, because businesses are now going to be informed on what to do and plan ahead and all that. And also another thing too is, initially there was started to be total darkness on July 13th based on apart from these particular areas,
apart from these
there are certain other areas that are also going to have scheduled planned maintenance. And this is what John Jinapo actually came out to say that don't worry, there's not going to be total darkness throughout that particular day. Businesses can go on and all that. So they are going to actually come out with a statement like this to make sure that the affected areas are mentioned. And then I think this is a feather in the cap of the Energy Ministry and all those players around that particular.
And I think when these things come, I don't know how best such things could be mitigated, because it's like, yes, we know maybe some planned maintenance is going on, then some people start fear mongering that, hey, then the whole country is going to go into darkness, and that's it causes fear and panic among people, because now you come in here, you later go into it, or if you search for more information, you realize that it is not even half what they're talking about.
And it's probably maybe like some 6 hour period.
I think we'll get into that story.
Yes,
we have that story.
We have
it's not before the whole day as Nana is talking about.
So another story is that
we have to go into our newspaper, so we would have to 30 seconds.
Yes, this is about ADB. ADB has appointed a new board chair, Kenneth Thompson, who is the former Dalex Finance CEO. Not Dalex Finance. He's like sort of the owner of Dalex Finance, and he has a wealth of experience in financing some of these things. Because where Dalex Finance was and where it is at the moment, and he leaving it in capable hands like the likes of Joe Jackson and all that's running, that is a good one. And Atoforsen has actually said that ADB is set for recapitalization in 2026. That is going to make sure that their capital requirements and all that are going to be beefed up so that they can meet the demands of the agricultural sector, the growing agricultural sector. You know, the NDC government has placed a lot of priority on the agricultural sector and investments in that particular sector of the country. So this is something that they are looking forward to, recapitalization of the agricultural sector in 2026. And it's been headed by a new management team. The managing director has been, a new 9-member management member team has been appointed now. Includes managing director Edward Atosapong, Andrew Dari, Sisi Sumanokran, Dr. Prince Ahin, Musbao Adams, and Wing Commander J. Alute. Nine of them, Courage Asangba and Abdul Nazir Sani, all of them have been appointed. These are people with a wealth of experience, and they've been appointed to actually go and manage the agricultural development bank.
All right. Well, I mean, ADB at a point, there was a bit of a decline in the prominence of that bank. So hearing this, I mean, it's inspiring to those who bank there, and even the people, like the agri sector.
And the main reason why the bank was established was not for people to get and do deposits and all that. These are like just subventional activities. But the main reason why it was established, we hope that these recapitalization will actually bring
to the fore. To that vision,
the vision, to make sure that farmers can expand their farms, go for facilities, and they can also
loans, because that is one of the things they need most, the loans and capital. So yes, newspapers. What do you
graphic
have for
business? I have the graphic business, and on the front page, the government pays 1.17 billion in Eurobonds debt, and on the other story says that government misses treasury bill target that has raised 2.97 billion Ghana cedis. 2.97 billion Ghana cedis. So these are the stories we have on graphic business.
So it's $1 billion US. Ghana has been able to pay that.
1.17
billion in Eurobonds debt. Yes.
Dollars.
The Eurobond was sort of a debt that was denominated in foreign currency. And it's like just like the T-bill, when the government subscribes for T-bills and then they pay back. But this time around, it's a bond. That means in excess of a year, or at least a year, and then was denominated in foreign currencies. And this is a bond that we actually took to invest into the country. We said we're going to invest some. I don't know whether this is different from the ESLA, but a part of it was going to be used for for developmental projects and the likes, the government flagship programs, which is one district, one factory, one village, one dam, all these, and that was what the monies were taken out on loan for. We didn't see the fruits of the money, yet we are seeing that we are paying back loans. And this is another thing, to revamp the economy as well. But the least said, the better. So let me just focus. Let me just focus on what I have on the daily graphic. And then on the daily graphic, they said we should report. President Mahama says that we should report illegal gold miners for reward. That's what's on the front page. It says report illegal gold miners for reward. And then the Trade Ministry has also held a national dialogue for first agribusiness policy. We're talking about the revamping of the agricultural sector and its recapitalization efforts. Government has also released 4 billion Ghana cedis to pay road contractors. So we've started paying contractors. We hope that our roads will start seeing better shape and will be in better conditions. And the president has commiserated with the U.S. government on Texas flooding. Recent Texas flooding, commiserations to them. That's from our president. And natural gas supply to increase on Sunday. This is from John Jenapor. This is the main story coming out from that particular sector. And then there are measures to also stabilize the power sector. These are all the stories that are making out the rounds in the daily graphic.
All right. So let's go quickly into the online. But before the online, I think the Galamsey thing, reporting, still, we need to find the financiers and approach them. Reporting the small boys does not solve the main cause of the problem. Because if we don't, like weeds, if you don't uproot it, you just trim, it will grow back.
Yeah.
So as much as this is one good way, I hope that leaders are also looking forward to how they would handle the financiers, especially if it comes out that these are certain beloved, people in leadership or in high positions that, they seemingly are loved by, or I don't want to say untouchable, but when it comes out that way, there should be something done.
They'll deal with that. They'll deal with that.
Right, so let's go into the online stories. This one, it's going to be heartbreaking for
that task force. So now, those reporting illegal gold miners and then those who sell illegal gold miners, did I say illegal? Who sell gold illegally now? So because now it's the Precious Mining Minerals Company. That's the only sole agency to deal with the trading of gold. Now, this is something very, very juicy, because if you should catch someone dealing in the illegal sale of gold, if you should catch someone dealing in the illegal mining of gold, whatever gold that person had, the amount of it, you get a whooping 10% of it. So this is very, very much interesting. It's going to as I'm going right now, I'm going to look for illegal miners and all that in that particular area. Anyway, but this is a very good initiative. So I think the current government are doing a lot of things right so far. But there are a few things that we need to prepare out the cracks. But truly, when they are doing things right, we should applaud them and say that these are good initiatives. These are things that we've been crying out for, and it looks as though they are listening. They are being a listening government and listening to us.
All right, so let's go into the online stories. The very first one seemingly might break the hearts of many who want to see greener pastures. So it says, U.S. tightens visa rules for Ghanaians, cuts validity to 3 months. So the United States has implemented new visa regulations for Ghana, significantly restricting most non-immigrant visas, including B-class business and tourist visas, as well as F1 student visas, to single entry permits valid for just 3 months. This marks a sharp departure from the previous policy, which allowed many Ghanaian applicants to obtain multiple entry visas lasting up to 5 years.
Clement, I don't know whether you'd want to.
Those of you who want to go to school and things.
So, the basis for this whole thing, when you take, the US says that they did that based on how Ghana treats their citizens when they are also applying for visa to the country. When you look at the background, you have what we call the, I think the word is reciprocity, meaning that they are doing as you are doing onto us. Yes, exactly. They are doing as you are doing onto us. But it's kind of heartbreaking because when you look into the story, they said it's affecting B1 application, I think B2 or so. That deals with business and tourism. So if you are going to US for business purposes, your visa will going to last for 3 months.
Yeah.
For tourism purposes, it's for 3 months. And also it has affected the F application, that is F1, that is for schooling applications, meaning for 3 months. So assuming if you are going there to school for about a year, after 3 months, you need to apply for it again. So just imagine the cost involved, the stress, the go and come issue. So I would say if the Foreign Affairs Ministry would do something about this issue, they should work hand in hand with the US government so that they can do something about this issue. And it's not only Ghana who has received this. Nigeria also has been affected as well.
I was even going to.
Yes, Nigeria also has been affected as well. And it's for me, it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I wanted to even ask that, is it not because of the, let me try to articulate what I want to say very well. The kind of behaviors that some Africans, specifically maybe Ghanaians and Nigerians have gone to put up there over the years that has sort of garnered a kind of reputation for us. Because you realize that when, I'm very sorry to say this, but when Nigerians are mentioned in other countries, more than half the time, it is not for good. It's not good news that's coming out. And now, slowly, Ghana is also going there. People call us the terrible twins. Nigeria is doing something. Ghana is just, right behind.
So I think...
Is it possible that could be the reason?
The reason why...
Or one of them.
The main reason why this thing was, let's say, imposed on Ghana, the basis was not about our behavior. It was about how when they are applying for visa, how we treat them or how
it's called the U.S. visa reciprocity and civil documents.
Exactly. So it's not basically on our behavior because Ghanaians have a very good behavior outside the country. That is, I don't know kind of books, but for the kind of what I know, we are very law-abiding people outside the country. The same applies to Nigerians. US might have their own category of classifying other.
So this is under the US visa reciprocity and documentation policy, and this particular thing is sought to mirror the terms that are given to the U.S. citizens when they actually here. Yes. But then another thing that I want to actually say is that when you look at the reasons for which U.S. citizens come here, and you look at the reasons for which we actually go there, then you weigh both and you realize that because U.S. citizens usually when they're coming here, it's just for 3 months maximum for visits. Tourism, leisure, and then they go back. Some even spend 2 weeks and all that. But when we are actually going there, it's not the same sort of motive. Barely do you see U.S. citizens coming here to come and study. So the terms and conditions surrounding our visa requirements when we are given to them would slightly differ from what they offer to us because the reasons for going are different.
Those reasons on paper, but let's look at what is on the ground. Let's look at what is happening, with Ghanaians there and then, the U.S. citizens here. Considering the fact that we just had somebody, a Ghanaian who was imprisoned in the U.S. released for a year into the country. She came back. That was, is it Hajia for real? Yes, Mona for real or something. And the reasons she was in prison, we all know about them. And then shortly after that, we had some sort of FBI crackdown on certain people that were engaged in certain activities with regards to U.S. citizens and things like that. So I'm just asking that, is there a likelihood that there could be a connection you know, with such events in regards to what's happening at the moment?
So, as Nana said, per the information release, that wasn't the basis.
Yes, that's on
that
paper,
wasn't the
but
basis.
if we are looking at...
When you're looking at the grounds, I will always still say that Ghanaians outside the country put up a very good behavior. Yeah, I don't know about...
I think in order to curb this, there should be a policy dialogue between both countries.
Exactly.
So now, that is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Another thing too, the embassy, you know, the consulates that was closed down in the US and all the fraud issues that we heard about and all of that, and some people even losing their jobs and all that.
It was just
definitely
like it was sort of just like a how do you call it? A reshuffle of
something like that.
So I'm not sure that is going to really affect diplomatic relations. But what we are looking at
this
is
a country that was imposing tariffs on other countries. You know,
that is true. But then what I'm looking at is that the way forward is to have a policy dialogue, because we need. It looks as though, or not. It looks as though we actually need the US visas more than they actually do need us, because we actually go there for better education. We go there for a lot
work.
of things and for work and all that. So once you're actually tightening, once they are sort of mirroring what we give to them and it's not going in our favor, then we should have maybe a policy to expand the sort of how do you call it, services that we offer to them, so that then in their same reciprocity policy and civil documents policy, then they can also sort of do it, review theirs and then do ours. Because definitely we tend to benefit more than they. And what I think is the main issue over here is that we sort of tend to use this as a revenue generation program for the embassies. That's the Ghanaian consulates abroad. That is when they are actually reapplying and all that over here. Then we tend to generate some revenue for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the likes. So if we are doing that, and then maybe they are saying that, okay, if you are generating revenue, we can also as well generate revenues with shorter tenors of visa and all that. Then it looks as though there has to be a balance that should be struck between these two countries, and then policy review.
With saying that we benefit more than them, on one hand, I disagree, because vacation spots here in Africa, considering our currency rates, you know, the to dollar ratio, if you know they want to come and have a very nice vacation experience here, it's going to be cheaper than going to maybe countries where their currencies are.
Even if it's cheaper, they come and then invest dollars in our economy. Cool. So because when they come, you may see it to be cheaper, but just as we said, in 2024 alone, a review of the tourism landscape realized that revenue generated from tourism was 4 billion. 4.2 billion. The year before, it was 3.7 billion in 2023. So you realize that the revenue we generate for our economy and businesses and the likes was 3.7 in 2023. In an election year where we thought that there's
everybody will be hot.
Yes, everybody will be hot. Yes, but then it shot up and went to 4.2 or 4.3 billion United States dollars. Then you realize that we are sort of enjoying, even though we are sort of enjoying, that is foreign exchange from this particular facility as well. So the fact that we enjoy from them and they enjoy from us.
So it's mutual benefits, because if you want to weigh it, yes, it is skewed a little, but we can't just say that we benefit more from them than they do us, because they also.
I think that's the situation on ground.
But what I mean is, we shouldn't make it look as though they get very little from us while we get so much more. I think it is not on. No, it's not at
definitely both countries, because when you realize our exports and the kind of commodities that we export to them, raw materials and all that, you realize that they also gain some sort of benefits.
Yeah, and even I think sometimes they have exchange students. Yes. So what's going to happen
when you even look at our oil fields?
That's what they're giving us 3 months.
Yes.
So they also have a 3 months.
So they when their exchange programs come, it's usually for a semester or less, which is usually 3 months. So that is a duration that suits them.
Yeah.
But you see, they are able to afford the plane tickets in and out whenever.
But I also read that when you apply for the visa and things for your education, and it's going to last longer than that, it's still going to be, regardless of the fact that your educational, whatever it is, the purpose is still going to be longer than the 3 months. So in that case, does that mean that you're going to have to keep renewing?
You have to keep that's the point. You need to keep renewing, and when you keep renewing, you're going to be paying additional visa fees and processing fees and all that. That is what we do to them. That is why they are also saying that if you do that to us, then and you are generating revenue from that particular thing, then we should also do same and generate revenue from it. But that's what I'm saying, that there needs to be a sitting down of both parties in a policy dialogue. Find out the mutual benefits, as you mentioned, that we all derive from each other. And then you put things in place. Let's say
but
3
I know
months.
It doesn't affect the spouses and even the diplomats, the diplomatic years. So I think it's just for it
actually affects
tourism and students. It doesn't affect
so it affects the B
K1,
class, the B class visas for both business and tourism, F1 students as well.
Yeah.
It affects the A class visas as well. K1 and K2 are single entry and valid.
It doesn't affect the A class. A class are diplomats and government officials. For them,
the A class.
So theirs was about 24 to 60 months.
So yes, it doesn't affect the A class. My bad. But K1 and K2 visas for foreign citizens and their children are single entry and valid for 6 months as well. So that one.
And then there was one that also goes up to 24 months.
Yeah, K3, that's the foreign
spouses and
children.
That one remains multiple entry. So you can go and come anytime.
Then, knowing Africans and how we like to think and be smart, people will start doing this, getting married so if Clement is gone,
we'll look at that one later.
No, there's a likelihood of that happening.
But we'll look at that one later. Let's go to the next story.
We know that the U.S. Embassy, they are very smart people. They have forensic sort of and behavioral analysts to review your visas and all that. So they are not just going to believe any story of marriage and all that, because there are there are certain instances where even marriage applications for visas actually reviewed and denied.
Yeah.
So you may end up going to marry someone and then you still not end up going.
I'm just drawing our attention to that may rise, because already some people even tell you that, if you want to come to these countries very easily, you have to come there, marry somebody there, and then you can get your green card. That has been a running theme for a while.
That's some people.
Yes, some people say that. And now with what's happening now and knowing that, the spousal visas,
it's not going
people
to
are going to start those things.
The way Clement wants you to move on to the next story. Clement,
maybe he tried and it didn't work for him. Anyway, so the next story here says, the government confirms the official discontinue. Okay, no, let me read a few comments first, then... so that is a reminder to also send in your comments to our WhatsApp number displayed onto your screen, or to our YouTube or Facebook live stream, and then I will read them here. But please remember to be decorous and respectful as always. So this one says, good morning, I'm Eben from Kobinya. If I may ask, as the MPP injunction has been thrown away by the court, would they still boycott the rerun? They should come clear, because the EC will not backtrack the decision for the return.
I mean,
then this one also says, hello, Koko Digest. Good morning, Era. The rerun is necessary because the scan pink sheets used for coalition were not verified by the presiding officers responsible for those polling stations, making the results unreliable. The EC had initially suspended the coalition process due to security concerns after the political party supporters stormed the coalition center. My question here is, will EC make this mistake again? Because, no further comments. This is Miss Ansa in Adenta. Then we have another one here, says, Hello, Yaira. Good morning. Adding up, many Ghanaians may face difficulties traveling to the U.S. for business and education or family visits due to the shorter validity period. It is well. This is Ajwa Afo in Alajo. Thank you very much for your comments. Yes, please do send them via our WhatsApp number displayed on your screen or to our YouTube or Facebook live stream. So, yes, someone is also calling right now. This number is not for calls. It is solely for WhatsApp messages. So please do well to comply with the directive. When the phone lines are opened, I will alert you so you can call and share your sentiments. For now, it's text message only. So the second story says, government confirms the official discontinuation of the One District, One Factory initiative. So, Trade, Agribusiness and Industry Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Ijare has officially announced the termination of the One District, One Factory initiative, that is the 1D1F, a flagship industrialization policy of the previous New Patriotic Party government. And speaking in Parliament on July 8, 2025, she confirmed that the program has been discontinued and no longer offers any incentives. Mr. Speaker, I want to draw the House's attention to the fact that as of now, there is no policy as 1D, 1F, she told the members of Parliament. So, in all genuineness or in all honesty, was the 1D, 1F feasible?
Oh, yes, it was. Some factories were actually.
I think Ghana disagrees.
I think let me make my point, and then we'll come in. Some companies were actually under 1D, 1F. I can name of one in Western region, specifically Wasa East, known as Sofnac. They are into rubber plantation.
Okay.
Previously, it was called SIPO. So, when this government, I remember one day, President Akufo-Addo was there to sort of launch it, and he said, from now onwards, the company is now under 1D, 1F. You see, previously, what we Ghanaians were thinking was that 1D, 1F is all about a newly established, established factory or a new established company in a district. But that wasn't what they did. What they did was the already existing factories or existing companies, you have to just register under 1D, 1F, and they give you tax exemptions. And a huge sums of money was pumped into tax exemptions, and the result turns out to be very low, looking at reports from finance experts.
Those monies, couldn't they have been used to rather establish these new factories?
So, Yaya, the issue now is we are going back to the drawing board. Time and time again, the three of us come and sit here, and we talk about a national development plan or agenda. Now, 1D, 1F, the response by the Minister, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ijare, was from a question that the minority leader asked in Parliament, Afenyo. He asked that, why is it that, what kind of mechanisms are being put in place to make sure that there are investments being attracted towards the 1D, 1F? And then she gave this particular statement that, Mr. Sibi, I want to draw the House's attention to the fact that as of now, there's no policy as 1D, 1F. So she mentioned that they had scrapped it. So now, besides this, now let's go back. There are different policies, multiple policies that come. Under this Mahama government, we've seen the tertiary schools and no fee, no stress policy that has come and is helping students. We saw free basic education policy. We saw school feeding program. We don't have a national development agenda, a single codified document that when a government comes, they are saying that 3% of government budget or total revenue generated should go into the development of factories for the next 20 years. Governments come, governments go. That is what they are going to do to make sure that there is a unified agenda in this. What will then happen to some of the industries? Because they were industries. When you look at the formation of industries, some in as much as 5-6 years go under formation stage. That is, they still need the tax exemptions and all that. So they get to a certain stage where they can be self-sufficient, and then they will now be paying taxes back to the government. But after 4 years, or maybe less than 4 years, establishing these these factories. Now, they are not going to get the assistance that they need. They are not going to, and then it's sort of, they are saying that whatever it is or whatever benefits that you gain from it, you are no longer going to gain, so you're on your own now. These factories are going to collapse. Mind you, it's Ghanaians that are working there. Another thing too is that the reason why they are saying this is that some of these policies now tend to become sort of appreciation schemes by political parties to party faithfuls.
Yeah.
So now, because you served us very well, or you helped us win this particular election, we are implementing one district, one factory, and then you have this particular factory. Let us come and then put it under one district, one factory. We'll give you tax exemptions, and then you still go on. So now that is why government policies keep failing, because we do not have a national development
every
agenda.
party comes with its own agenda.
With their own agenda.
Yeah.
And then within 4 years or sometimes 8 years, if God blesses you and you're voted in power again, within 4 years, the whole agenda changes. And then now everything is scrapped.
Because I was also hoping that the one district, one factory was going to be that as much as the already existing factories are empowered, more factories would be, put up for people to get employment.
Exactly, yeah, that's what we were hoping. Exactly. But it became a tax avoidance scheme for people to avoid tax.
Yeah.
And then now we are not seeing the industries. So the Honorable is actually right in some sense to say that there's nothing like one district, one factory. How many districts
do we have in the country? I think the other day you mentioned we had about,
It was close to 265 or so.
261.
We have 261 districts in the country.
Yes.
And how many constituencies do we have?
275.
275, yes.
So I was also thinking